Okay, guys, I found something really interesting. Darlene had sent this to me. This is from about 2 years ago. Says, witness, legal team led police to 2 gang leaders suspected in slaying. So why no arrests? Okay. Claremont, the Bronx, a killer is still on the run after slaying a man in the parking lot of McDonald's in the Bronx 4 years ago. Information from witness surveillance video and other evidence point to 2 local gang leaders being behind the crime as well as others. Still, the 2 alleged killers remain at large despite detectives being shown where they live and socialize. Why they have not been subdued is a mystery to a private investigator and a lawyer who are working with a man who was wrongly arrested for the crime. They came to Pix 11 News to try to help them get answers. The crime took place about 1:20 a.m. on August 19th of 2012. That time and date are imprinted on a surveillance video obtained from near the scene. The scene contains key information that could lead to the killers of Hansel Arias, 22, who was fatally stabbed in front of the Webster Avenue McDonald's. The video shows Arias literally running for his life past the camera. Seconds later, well off camera, he is killed. Meanwhile, the surveillance video recorded by an automotive business more than a block away from the crime scene shows another man standing on the sidewalk holding a soft drink and talking with friends. The man is Edgar Javier, now 26, even though as the video shows he was more than a block away when the homicide took place. Javier ended up afoul of the law. I crossed the street here on Webster Avenue, Javier told Pix 11 in an interview at the scene. The cops arrested me, then I spent 2 years in jail. Police responding to the murder scene put Javier in custody. He did not emerge from incarceration for over 2 years. After his arrest, he was jailed on Rikers Island pending trial, which never came. During his 2 years in jail, Javier said he was beaten during a riot and other abuse. 5 months after his time at Rikers, was in solitary confinement. A lot of crazy stuff goes through your head, you know, Javier said about being locked up in a cell alone. A lot of people think about killing themselves in there. It was only after 2 years in lockup that Javier's family was able to post bail. Private Detective Miguel Gomez was contacted by the Bronx Attorney's Office to place an ankle bracelet on Javier and monitor him pending trial. I saw from the beginning of the case there were big red flags, Gomez said in an interview. By the time I put the ankle bracelet on him, I was 90% sure that this kid was innocent. Gomez set out to prove that he was right. He tracked down the surveillance video that proved Javier innocent and showed it to the Bronx District Attorney Darcel Clark. She quickly dropped charges against Javier. Meanwhile, Gomez, the private investigator, set out to find the actual killers. I looked for all the people in the video, Gomez said, and sure enough, it was them. 2 men, well-known leaders of a local branch of an international gang, are seen on surveillance walking away from the scene when Gomez, a former NYPD cop and Army Ranger intelligence officer, saw the men on the video. He then set out to find even more evidence. He soon found a cell phone video of one of the gang leaders' Facebook pages. In the video, the man brags in Spanish about having killed someone. I gave detectives a video with the guy admitting to it, Gomez said. Being praised by the gang, saying I killed a guy already. Specifically said he showed the cell phone videos to homicide detectives at the 44th Precinct who were handling the case as it continued to be investigated. The private eye said he learned more about what happened during the first few days of the investigation that he said disturbed him. 2 days after Hansel Arias' murder, the victim's brother walked into a precinct and told them a group of names that potentially were the murderers of his brother. The people who witnessed had named with the same people seen chasing Arias in the surveillance video. I've brought them 9 witnesses from the video, Gomez said in an interview. I gave detectives the addresses, the apartments, even escorted homicide division to where it was, and they still did nothing. He said that as he kept investigating, what he found disturbed him more. I have evidence of the other murders committed. Another murder in Manhattan, Gomez said. The death of Mohammed Jalloh, 18, on June 20th of 2010, was seen as a call to action by both Gomez and John Sakala, an attorney with whom Gomez works closely. Sakala is representing Ingir Javier, who was wrongfully arrested and incarcerated in the Hansel Arias murder. Scola said that he and Gomez were not only frustrated with the lack of arrests in this Arias case, he also said that they had even more cause for concern in the Jalloh case as well. 2 kids actually took a deal on that. One took 20 years and one took 15. And they still haven't turned over the evidence, and they're sitting in jail for crimes they didn't commit. Scola and Gomez says they found witnesses from the Jalloh murder who've said that the same 2 gang leaders who killed Arias killed Jalloh. However, Scala said the information has fallen on deaf ears. I mean, there's 2 men that were known of who are serial killers, says Scola, who are high-ranking members of the gang in the Bronx and the gangs in the Bronx, Manhattan, and Queens, and they are on the loose. Hansel Arias' case is being prosecuted by the district attorney Darcel Clark. A spokesperson for district attorney told Pix 11 News that their office handed over the evidence from the case to the Homicide Bureau of the NYPD, but the police in turn made only one comment about their activity in the case. It was a Trez 5-word email to Pix 11. This remains an ongoing investigation, the NYPD said. The department's brief comment contrasts with the police activity in the case, since Pix 11 News made them aware of the story. Within hours of our inquiry, Homicide Bureau detectives started interviewing the witnesses that Javier, private detective and lawyer, had brought to them. The investigation had been dormant for months until the inquiry from Pix 11 News, according to Gomez and Scala. However, that is not necessarily making things for anger Javier, at the least until the actual killers are found. If they see me out here right now, Javier said in McDonald's parking lot, a lot of things will happen. I worry about that. He and his legal team said that Javier was taking a risk to his personal safety by showing backup at the scene of the crime. His living out of state for his own protection until arrests are made in the case for which he'd originally been charged. Javier said that living away from his family and community is kind of an imprisonment on its own. You don't got freedom to be where you want to be, he said. You've got to be careful. You've got to watch your back. Part of the reason for that, according to Javier's investigator and attorney, is they have evidence and witnesses that indicate the same alleged gang leaders are behind at least 2 more murders. The legal team is asking warrants be issued for the arrest of the men. For now, their detectives are still assessing evidence. Now, I want to say this. Number 1, okay, these 2 alleged gang members, one of them is Jose Munez, okay? Obviously, he's not named here in this particular article. But what they're trying to say is, okay, the murders of Hansel Arias, okay, and Mohammed were both done by these two highly active gang members, okay, one including Jose Muniz. Now, what really is upsetting about this is that this poor guy who was just standing there drinking his soda, okay, was arrested for killing Arias. When these videos, okay, clearly show he wasn't the one that committed the crime. So it's all about what is going on as far as law enforcement, as far as District Attorney Darcel Clark. Can she be trusted in any case at this point? The NYPD didn't even think that it was necessary to do more footwork or investigate this more. They just decided to have an innocent man live in jail for 2 years. They could have very easily have gotten the same surveillance that the investigator Gomez got and saw this issue. So I'm just trying to piece this together as to why the NYPD kept dropping the ball on this, okay? Now, here's an update from 2 years later, okay? It says 2 men ID'd as possible killers by Pix 11 in cold case are arrested and held in jail, okay? Now, 2 accused killers will remain behind bars at least until the next court hearing in the fall due to the part by reporting by Pix 11 News. Now, Pix 11 News should not be having to do the NYPD's job as far as investigating murders, okay? They're supposed to be reporting, not investigating. So this just shows you how the NYPD drops the ball over and over again and only does what they feel like doing. In the meantime, investigators continue that may link the 2 men who are charged with a murder from 5 years ago to other murders in the city. Okay? In court in handcuffs on Tuesday afternoon were Jose Rodriguez, 24, and Darienzo Marte, 26, who is widely known as Jesus Reyes. According to an eyewitness, the 2 men fatally stabbed Hansel Arias in a fight in the early morning hours of August 19th, 2012. This dispute, according to prosecutors, was over whether or not Arias was involved in a gang that rivaled that in which Rodriguez and Marti were involved, which were the Trinitarios. Immediately after the stabbing in the McDonald's parking lot on Webster Avenue, police arrested an innocent bystander, Ingrid Javier, okay, which we talked about, who spent 2 years in jail for no reason. Happened to be crossing the street 2 blocks away from the scene. Shortly after it happened, Javier's ultimately cleared his name, but not after spending 2 years under arrest for the crime on Rikers Island. He recently reached an $800,000 settlement with the city for wrongful arrest and incarceration. Now, I just want to say this as well. What the fuck? Okay? Who was protecting these Trinitarios from 2010 until now. Because it seems like they're trying to get all their arrests in now for the Junior episode. Arrests that they haven't gotten over the last 20 years. I don't get it. What cleared him of the crime was a surveillance video that showed him talking with some female friends 2 blocks away where the murder took place at the time it did. The video also showed minutes earlier victim Hansel Arias running from a group of what appeared to be gang-related attackers. Somebody in the group killed Arias, according to the man who discovered the video. It later shows who the killers are. New Yorkers are now safer that these serial killers are off the streets, says Manuel Gomez, a private investigator who found the surveillance video. It shows 2 men walking away from the crime scene minutes after taking place. Gomez said the 2 men are Rodriguez and Martí, and that their arrest last week after 5 years on the run is a milestone in pursuing justice in this case. The only way the case is going to go further, Gomez said in an interview with Pix 11, is when I connect them to the other murders that I have in Manhattan and the Bronx. Gomez, a former NYPD cop, U.S. Army intelligence officer, referred to other surveillance videos he's obtained, which shows Rodriguez, who goes by the street name Bebo, and Martí, who goes on the street as Caballo, wielding machetes they used in 2010 on the murder of Mohammed Jalloh in Upper Manhattan, okay? I fucking can't. Somebody else has been charged in relation to that crime. The Manhattan District Attorney Office and NYPD declined to comment about the possibility of Rodriguez and Martí being involved in the murder. However, at least one witness has connected the men to the crime. Gomez, the private investigator, said that there were more such crimes which Bebo and Caballo are involved. The attorney with whom Gomez works closely on many criminal cases, John Sakala, credits Gomez for finding the surveillance video that broke open the case. Sakala also said that the combination of attention paid to this case by Pix 11 News scrutiny from City Hall led to these arrests. Okay? Scala and Gomez wrote to the mayor, Bill de Blasio, earlier this year about the case. We commend the mayor, says Scola, for looking closely at this case that the attorney said helped to wrap up the investigation. They wouldn't have done it otherwise. Controversially, that may end up being the defense for the 2 men now under arrest. It makes me think the only reason they're prosecuting, says Lynn Calavaca, the lawyer for Rodriguez, is somebody is putting fire under their butts. That's the only reason her client and Martí pleaded not guilty. Citing the severity of the charges, however, Judge George Villegas denied bail to the 2 men. Their next court appearance is September 5th. Okay? I want to see when. This was a year ago. All right? Now, they have evidence linking them to the Hansel murder and the Mohammed murder, and it's still a question. You know, like I say, surveillance video, you know, you got the surveillance video, you see who it is, but yet you don't make any arrests. Then in the Junior case, they see who's in the surveillance video. They make their arrests, okay? And then they make arrests on people that we didn't see in the surveillance video. So this is just a small fraction of the injustice, okay, and the fickleness and the I pick certain crimes to be more important than others, NYPD, bullshit. The hypocritical shit that they use for one case, they deny matters in another case. Okay? So now we're going back to 2010. We're going back to almost 9 years ago. These people were running around killing people in Manhattan, in the Bronx, all over New York, and they were being ignored, and innocent fucking people were being arrested instead of them. Now, was that done on purpose, or was that just done because they didn't do their fucking jobs? I don't know. It's a question you gotta ask. Now, here we have, okay, an article from 3 weeks ago. How judge's decision may be connected to Junior's mistaken identity murder. Okay? The Bronx, a judge is ordered to grant bail to an alleged gang leader may be connected to the brutal killing of Lisandro Jr. Guzman Feliz. That's a new angle in the story, the fight against gangs in New York City. It's a fight that is described in similar ways, whether the description from the NYPD commissioner and an ex-Trinitario or gang-busting private detective. However, some differences regarding perceptions of gangs emerge when the three discuss how well the fight against them is going. New York gangs commit robberies and drug deals, said Commissioner James O'Neill in a recent news conference, but they also do credit card fraud, check forging schemes, identity theft, phone scams, and unauthorized retail theft. Gangs are also involved in human trafficking, including the prostitution of underage girls. Similarly, a former gang member who agreed to an interview on the conditions of anonymity said that his gang, the Trinitarios, they're selling drugs. They send their people to kill anyone. A lot of people in the gang are doing robberies, kidnapping, extortion, murder, narcotics, intimidation are the activities of the New York City gangs described by Manuel Gomez, a Bronx-based private detective whose work has gotten multiple gang members arrested for a variety of crimes, including ones he listed. While all three, the NYPD top brass, the ex-gang member, and the private eye agree that law enforcement has been taking action against gangs, there is a difference of opinion when the men discuss details of the fight against the mostly young men that the NYPD say are behind some of 40% of the violent crime in the city. Okay? Now that is a very big percentage as a whole. Okay? Specifically, the opinions diverge somewhat regarding the gangs most prominent in the headlines now. We are going to continue to target not just the Trinitarios, said the NYPD Chief Detectives Declan Shea at a news conference last month about gang activity, but any street gang that's involved in violence in New York City. However, said Gomez, the private detective and former NYPD officer, more needs to be done to get the Trinitarios leader back into custody. Ediberto Santana is the leader of the Trinitarios for 3 boroughs, Brooklyn, Bronx, and Manhattan. He's running the streets right now on the loose. Okay? This was 3 weeks ago, people. Santana is free on a $100,000 bond in a case of weapons possession in Brooklyn. The NYPD arrested him on a charge in June, but according to the Brooklyn District's Attorney's Office, Prosecutors asked that Santana be held without bail. Instead, the DA's office spokesperson said the judge set $50,000 cash on a $100,000 bond. Santana, 28, has the title of El Primero, the first one in the gang, as well as a nickname according to the Trinitarios former members. Flaco Venio is Santana's name on the street, according to ex-Trinitario, whose identity is being protected by Pix 11. The nickname in Dominican slang means skinny poison. Santana got bail for weapons possession charges, despite the fact that he already had been on bail at the time for a 2017 criminal case. He tried to burn the people alive in the home, Gomez said. An earlier case in which Santana had been charged with arson, burglary, reckless endangerment. So he's out walking the streets, this killer. And he's been involved in at least 5 other murders and is free as day. Gomez maintains that Santana has been connected to at least 2 cases on which Pix 11 News has reported, even though other alleged Trinitarios members were arrested for the murders of Mohammed Jalloh in 2006 and Hansel Arias 2 years later. Santana, as the Trinitarios El Primero, would have had a role in directing those 2 murders and probably others, according to Gomez and according to the former Trinitarios gang member. Somebody has to die, he says. The ex-gang member told Pix 11 News about the other he said he'd heard the Trinitarios leader give. Yo, you've got to go over there and kill this guy. That's it. The former gang member, who has moved out of New York State for his safety, said this in a FaceTime interview. Junior's death never should have happened, said Gomez about the Trinitarios gang. Their leader and his attachment to the 12 men charged in the most prominent murder in New York City memory, that of Junior Guzman Feliz on June 20th, Gomez said that not only is Santana connected to the order that resulted in the men fatally stabbing and slashing the 15-year-old police explorer in an apparent case of mistaken identity, but that of Jose Muniz, the guy holding the big black machete in the attack on Junior, has also been involved in the attack on Hansel Arias' murder, according to according to Gomez. So now, here we go. A video of him running down the street to kill Hansel Arias is seen in the footage. An alleged gang members chasing Arias minutes before his fatal stabbing 6 years ago this month. Gomez maintains that one of the alleged gang members is Jose Muniz, who has been indicted on murder and gang-related charges in the case of the murder of Junior Guzman Feliz. Gomez said that if Muniz had been arrested in relation to the 2012 Arias murders, he wouldn't have been free to take part in the ultimate death of Junior Guzman Feliz. NYPD command for comments on Santana's status during a news conference last month. They said there's an ongoing investigation. Department Terrence Mohana. So we're not going to mention anyone else that's not in custody. Again, the NYPD had arrested Santana this past June, and a judge ruled that he would be let go on bail. So thank you to this judge. Junior is where he is. Since then, El Primero and his fellow alleged gang members appear to have been quite busy. He's out there taking pictures with police, with his gang members, referring to photos that Santana and 9 other alleged members took in front of unsuspecting NYPD patrol officers at a public event and then posted it on social media. Okay? They're actually doing recruitments now, showing them taking pictures with cops. In the photos, the alleged gang members show gang hand signs, just steps away from officers who are turned the other way, so that people can see. You don't even see when they're there. That police never pay attention. That is scary. This is how brazen they are. Now, remember, we've discussed this, okay? How the NYPD just stand around and act like they don't know what the fuck is going on. We have to do more, O'Neill said, in the news conference in July that focused on fighting gang violence. Homicides and shootings are way down, but we can do more. Every time they get bigger, said the ex-Trinitario, referring to the gang's recruitment efforts, they get more people in the gang. To help stem recruiting and to help stop the violence, the NYPD brass, the former gang member, and the gang-busting private eye also agree that it takes more than just making arrests. We have to have commercials that say, if you're in a gang, this is what's going to happen. Just like the adult smoking commercials, we need to have graphic commercials that children can see. Now, I did bring this up several times, how this shit has to be put into videos. This has to be shown to kids, like the Say No to Drugs, okay? This has to turn into the Say No to Gangs, okay? Commissioner O'Neill agreed that it's not just the police department's battle to fight alone. It can't just be the NYPD, O'Neill said. It has to be everybody in the city. It's got to be all 8.6 million New Yorkers. That's the turning point that I'm looking for. Now, let me just say this, okay? Number one, if you are arresting known murderers, okay, and known fucking gang members, and you are letting these people go, okay, on bail, how would that help, okay, anybody feel safe, okay, walking around knowing that these people are being arrested and then basically just put back on the street, okay? Which I think is a little odd at best. How are gang these people, these high up leaders, getting out of jail so quickly? Okay, my guess is they're giving certain people money, and this is how they're getting away with certain shit. Now, what I want to know is, okay, what the fuck is going on? Why is the NYPD dropping the ball on some cases, but yet not dropping the ball on other cases? What makes one case more important than the other fucking case? I will never, ever, ever understand that shit, okay? Because it doesn't make sense, and once again, it doesn't fucking add up. So my deal is this. Either we start to treat each and every fucking one of these murders the same way and give them the same attention so that people can see exactly what is going on in the streets, okay? Not just, one person, but all these people who are being killed. all these people who are being murdered by this gang. This is something that we need to do. We need to know every fucking time this gang does something, okay? Not just whenever they feel like sharing it. The fact that they're fucking arresting innocent fucking people for crimes that have surveillance video, okay? Showing that they weren't involved, okay, is really ridiculous. Like, are they just choosing to ignore the crime itself, or are they just picking and choosing the crimes that they pay attention to? I don't know. But like I said, I'm questioning the NYPD, and I want to know why they drop the fucking ball on certain shit and don't drop the ball on other shit. And here, another thing I'm going to bring up is I am finding, okay, crime scene photos with the number and everything in connection with the Hansel Arias murder. There's a crime scene. There are markers. There are pictures of this crime scene. Okay. Where are the pictures in Junior's crime? Where are Junior's crime scene photos? Does anybody know where these fucking crime scene photos are? Why have we not seen these crime scene photos? Okay? Why are there crime scene photos for this guy killed by the Trinitarios, but not Junior's crime scene photos? Okay? Why are some crimes being done by the book, whereas others are not? Can anyone answer that question for me? Probably not. Okay? The fact of the matter is you can't answer the fucking question because it doesn't make sense for you to answer. The real problem here is corrupt politicians, corrupt fucking cops, okay? This is the problem. So unfortunately, until we get rid of the corruption, we are still going to deal with this type of shit. Okay? We all knew that Jose Muniz had been involved in several fucking murders, other fucking crimes, other shit, okay? And he was still let go to roam the streets and hurt someone else. Can we explain why he was out on the street? No. Okay. Why? Because, like I said, some people, everything goes by the book. Other people, it doesn't. So, we have to blame the corrupt politicians and the corrupt cops and all that shit. Okay? Because that's really the problem here. All right? Now, I'm going to end this video right here because I think I went on and on more than enough about this subject. But I wanted you guys to see what I meant by how many times, okay, how many times these people were implicated in other crimes and were never, ever kept in jail for them. If anything, they were arresting people, okay, that weren't even involved. They were just in the vicinity. So now are they doing that with these 13th and 14th suspects in the Junior murder? I don't know. But here we have proof that the NYPD does do that, okay? And does drop the ball when it fucking feels like dropping the ball. I hope this has helped some of you understand how the New York court system is working, these gang members, and how some of them are walking no matter what they do, and some of them are being arrested when we don't even know if they're really involved in any kind of a crime. So, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. And once again, thank you for listening, and I appreciate you subscribing and liking this video, sharing this video. Thank you. Okay, guys, I found something really interesting. Darlene had sent this to me. This is from about 2 years ago. Says, witness, legal team led police to 2 gang leaders suspected in slaying. So why no arrests? Okay?